Hey Eurovision fans, it's time for another Eurovision news update, and today we have some breaking news on rule changes for how the countries are going to be split into the first and second halves for the Eurovision Grand Final. So let's kiki. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Tom. I'm an Irish Eurovision analyst, and you can find all of this stuff on my Eurovision channel. So in case you didn't see, Eurovision has been teasing that they had one other big change. We already had the news that voting was going to start from the first song in the final of Eurovision 2024. And then we also had the big news about the automatic qualifiers performing in the semi-finals, but they had teased that they had one more surprise left to come, and a couple of days ago that they announced this new system that they're going to be using to decide where countries are placed in the running order in the grand final. So before we talk about those rules, just in case you don't know what the old rules were, once the qualifiers were announced in the semi-final, they would go into the press conference and they would pick a ball out. There were half the balls with first half and half the balls with second half. The country would pick it out and they'd open the ball and it'd be this big dramatic moment where they'd either be very, very happy that they got the second half or extremely visibly disappointed that they got the first half. The host country, they draw the actual numbers, so anything from 1 to 26. Sweden drew first this year. Last year, UK drew 26th and Ukraine drew 19th. So that was the old system. This new rule that the producers for the contest in Malmo this year have brought in is that inside this bowl with all the different balls, there's going to be 6 balls with first half in it, 6 balls with second half, and 13 balls with producer's choice written on it. So as you can probably guess from the name, 6 countries are going to be put into the first half to join Sweden, who are first in the running order. Then 6 of the countries are going to be drawn into the second half, and then the other 13, the producers are allowed to put wherever they want. They can put them second, they can put them 25th, whatever they think is going to make the show work and flow the best. So one of the main questions you may ask is, why are they doing this? Well, I think that they don't like the fact that sometimes they get hamstrung with how the countries are split. You can be a little bit lucky and you can get a really good mix of songs in the first half and the second half, but recently we've been seeing that actually it can backfire a little bit. So let's take 2022 as an example, where there was a really distinct lack of upbeat songs in the second half, and what it led to us having was where we got into the second half, song 13, and we have Malik Harris with Rock Stars, and then into Monica Leo, Sentimentai for Lithuania, and then Nadir with Fade to Black. All good songs, but kind of like a bit of a mellow, serious mood. And then into Miss You by Jeremy Makiesi, and then Die Together, very intense period. And then into Med Hakaitel Sol, My Icelandic is Terrible Sorry from Sistur. And then we had this final reprieve of Zadobzi Dub and Adahav Brothers from Tunelet Sul, finally breaking a slightly gloomy 6-song period. So basically the producers were really kind of stuck because they just had a lot of more slow, serious, moody songs all crammed into the second half. They also had Sheldon Riley, Not the Same, another ballad. They had Achman River also. So there was just a real lack of fun in the second half. If you look through the list of songs, they've really only got Moldova. Spaceman was kind of a little bit more upbeat as well. And, Constructor was kind of something fun. But they basically had to spread those 3 songs out amongst 13 songs. So, and they had Estonia as well with Hope closing the show. But just generally you can see that they just got too much of one vibe in the second half. And the producers, I really do think that it affected the show. Keep in mind that broadcasters, I'm pretty sure that they can track the viewing figures. I would not be surprised if during that period from song 13 to song 18, they lost some viewers, because it's really just a lot of heavy songs, not too many big names there in those first 6. None of those were kind of ones who were expected to kind of do extremely well. Greece did relatively well, but just put in a situation where the show wasn't massively conducive to being very entertaining, because really you want these songs spread out so that they can shine. If you have 4 or 5 songs with a similar vibe back to back, they just don't get to feel as special, because when you're the 3rd, 4th, 5th slightly gloomy song, yeah, it doesn't pop as much as it would have if you'd come after Give That Wolf a Banana. I think that happening gave the producers a little bit of consternation. We're hamstrung by this random thing of pulling balls out, which appears on the surface to be the most fair that it can be, but really it can actually just end up leading to a worse show. Let's go to another example, and you didn't have to wait very long for the second example. The same thing happened last year where we had 2 massive favorites in Loreen from Sweden and Gary from Finland, and they were both drawn in the first half. Now, obviously, if you're making an entertainment show, you want your big hooks, your big draws kind of spread out. So having one of them in the first half would have been great. Having maybe Carrie at song 12 and then Lorraine maybe song 22, so that you have a big kind of like finale for the first half and a finale for the second half to try and keep people around as much as possible. In the end, what they got was both songs were drawn in the first half, and then you had to separate them as much as possible. So they had to put Lorraine as early as 9th, and then they had to put Carrie as song 13 as late as possible in the first half. So I remember actually talking about this last year, what a mess this was to try and deal with. On top of that, they had other big names. You know, France were considered a potential favorite at the time. We know that didn't actually work out, but they were considered. Italy as well, also drawn first half. Spain was also at that point in time considered a favorite for the jury. They're drawn first half. So it just felt like a very top heavy first half in terms of much stronger songs. I also remember thinking last year that they were kind of stuck in terms of who was going to open, because they didn't have too many songs that they could kind of throw to the wolves in terms of opening the show. Obviously, we don't have that problem this year because we have Sweden opening. But yeah, they're just recognizing that having this 50-50 system of pulling a ball out can really affect the entertainment value of the show. So they're trying to correct it, just take back a little bit more control. So at the end of the article where they announced these changes, they did actually post the running order slot of the last 10 years. And actually a majority of them have come from the first half, but they've all been from the 9th song onwards. So we know that the songs at the start of the show, there's a few less viewers, they tend to get less points, particularly with the televote, but also with the jury as well. So first half has gotten this really bad reputation to the point where countries are opening up their balls or eggs or whatever, and when they get first half, you can just see their faces crushing. So it's not a particularly positive experience. I think now delegations are into it now that they don't want to be in the first half, they don't want to get put early. I think also just reducing the amount of first half eggs is just going to reduce the amount of very gloomy, sad looking artists who've just qualified and are disappointed that they are stuck in the first half. So if we look and see, Austria Conchita was 11th, Måns Zelmerlöw was 10th, Salvador Sobral was 11th, Duncan Lawrence was 12th, Kalish Orchestra were 12th, and Lorraine was 9th. So you can win from the first half, but at the end of the day, when you are a favorite to win, the producers are going to put you between 9th and 13th if you draw first half anyway. I don't think it affects who wins, but you got to keep in mind that a lot of artists are not just in Eurovision to win. They are there to kind of expose themselves and get lots of new attention and have people listen to their music. So a lot of artists don't want to be early in the running order because there's going to be less eyes watching them. I don't think they care too much if it's the difference between them coming 13th and 17th. But if you're in the second half, realistically, you're going to have more people watching, and that could help with streaming numbers, and that's the exposure that a lot of these artists want. So you may be saying, well, Tom, we're still going to have the same amount of countries in the first half as we had before. Yes, that's true. I think we're always going to have that issue where people don't want to be early in the first half, but this gives the producers a little bit more control. I actually ironically think this could be a little bit more fair, because we have seen that there are some countries who have just been unlucky with the draw. Serbia for the last 3 years in a row have been drawn first half of their semi-final. Ireland as well, I know, has also been drawn first half a lot recently in the semi-finals. Taking away the randomness of the first and second balls and bringing this producer decision actually allows the producers to write that. So any country that's been drawn a lot in the first half, Albania has a reputation for being drawn in the first half of the grand final a lot. Second in the running order twice recently. This gives the producers an opportunity that if they drew the producer's ball, they can put them into the second half. So they can kind of even it out a little bit. Ironically, this could actually help to make it a little bit more fair. Obviously now the favorites are going to be given the good running order slot. At the end of the day, if you want a good running order slot, come with an amazing package that is a favorite to win, and you will always be given a slot from which you can win, so 9th basically onwards. Hopefully the users are going to use their producer's choice to give countries who've had crappy running orders in the past a little bit of a break and give them a nice running order slot to kind of even things out. So what's my personal opinion on it? I actually quite like this. I think it's going to make for a better show. At the end of the day, Eurovision is an entertainment show. I know some people have this big focus on fairness. I know some people even want the entire show in the final to be done by random draw. I'm totally against that. I just gotta be honest, I really don't like it at all. It is an entertainment show. I do think songs can shine if they have a good contrast with those around them. If you have 3 girly bops in a row, the third girly bop just feels really repetitive and samey, and it's just going to get washed out. So I think that if you space those girly bops apart, all 3 of them are just going to appear better because they're going to appear more unique because they aren't immediately after another girly bop. I think it avoids situations like 2022 where we have 6 pretty gloomy songs in a row and have people reaching for the antidepressants. In that situation, they would have had a lot more flexibility in putting an upbeat song in the middle of those 6 songs, which really would have just broken it up and helped them all a lot. I wonder how they made the decision about having 13 producers. I wonder if maybe it would have been less of a big deal if they'd chosen less than that. Maybe if they'd gone 8, 8, 8, so the equal amount of pots. Only having 6 first half countries, it just reduces the chances of a country repeatedly pulling first half, first half, first half, because now instead of it being 50-50, it's basically a 25% chance that they're going to do that. So the chances of someone pulling first half 3 or 4 years in a row is like way, way, way less than it was when it was a 50-50 ball draw. So I might be being naive here, but I'm hoping that this is actually going to be used for the benefit. I have to admit, I trust the Swedish producers. I think that the changes that they brought in 2016, where the jury and televote points were split apart, is the best change that's happened to Eurovision since the 2 semi-final systems started in 2008. So I think they did an incredible job with that. That is such an iconic moment in Eurovision now, and I actually don't think I know of anyone who doesn't like that change. Also, the other changes that they've done this year, having the automatic qualifiers perform in the semi-finals, I think that's fantastic as well. I also like the voting opening from the start. So I've got to be real. I think the Swedish producers, the changes they do, they make sense to me. I think they're trying to make the show better. I think a lot of people are going to complain that they think that it's unfair, but life isn't fair, babe. We live in capitalism. Life, they need money, they need revenue, they need to bring the sponsors in. The contest that needs to pay the bills and make ends meet. You've got to have as entertaining, climactic show as possible and keep people on the edge of their seats. Also, having it more even means they can move things around to make the contest even closer as well, which again, people will say that's not fair, but I would like to see a final that was kind of more nail-biting, really, really close at the end, like 2021 between France and Italy. That was so exciting. At the end of the day, the producers of the show, their priority is to have the best show possible. I do think that fairness and equality is somewhere on their priority list, but I think it's much, much lower down. They want viewing figures, entertainment, they want people to have fun, and they want the songs to shine as much as possible. I'm for this. I'm interested to see how it's going to go. But what do you think? I'm sure there's people who are going to hate this and they're going to let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much to Olivia for supporting me on Buy Me a Coffee. If you want to support the channel, I have links for you in the description down below. And of course, thank you to all my Patreons for patronizing me from all around the world. But thank you so much just for watching and maybe leaving a like and maybe sharing the video. And I hope to see you in another Eurovision analysis video very soon. Goodbye. Blah, 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 blah.